Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Bon Voyage Besties. I'm Rosa, joined by amazing co host Rachel. If you've been listening along, you know that for us, traveling is a key part of self care, and finding destinations that offer that wellness component is always a huge plus. So, today we're super thrilled to have a very special guest. Lynette is a passionate travel expert with over 10 years of experience working across the tourism industry in Uganda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana. She creates a customized travel itinerary that weaves wellness into adventure while ensuring a safe and empowering space for women traveling through Africa. So grab your favorite travel mug, get cozy, and join us as we explore this magic of wellness travel in Africa with Lynette. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rachel. Thank
We're
you.
so
It's a
excited to
pleasure to
have
be
you
here.
here.
So, Lynette, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself so our listeners could get to know you a little bit better?
Yes, thank you very much. I grew up in Uganda. I've been in Uganda all my life. I joined the tourism industry very early on when I was 20 years old as a volunteer at a site. And then I went on to do university while working. And while there, I formed an association, and that's how I was able to explore different parts of Africa in tourism while I was still in school. So I did Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana. But then what I realized there was no particular place or there was no particular aspect in the tourism industry which was emphasizing on wellness and mainly women traveling within Africa. Post COVID around 2022, I realized there was a growing boom. So that's when I noticed the growing boom of women traveling around the world. But I wasn't seeing those numbers flowing into Africa. And then that's when I thought of the aspect of creating wellness packages where we target women to come into Africa to explore Africa, but then also to rejuvenate, to relax, to immerse themselves with nature and culture so that the trip is not only safari, but then also has this deep richness to it. So that by the time someone goes back home, they feel empowered, they feel they have carried out self discovery and all those aspects. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I love the idea of combining wellness with travel to Africa because you're right. What immediately comes to mind with me is taking a safari. And I just love the wellness component of that because I know for me, I'm always looking for that self care and that rejuvenation when I travel. Like, I love that transformative experience so much.
Yes.
So, you've worked in several incredible countries Uganda, Zimbabwe, Botswana, just to name a few. What do you think sets travel in Africa apart from other destinations around the world?
The diversity of each country. You see, you could look at maybe Zambia and Zimbabwe and they're next to each other, and you would think there's no much difference. But oh my God, the variety, the richness, and the difference in just those two countries, even in Tanzania, because we have Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, just in one area code. But even the weather, even the food you find in these countries is so distinct. The character of the people there, the offerings in terms of travel and tourism are all different. So what makes Africa stand out is the uniqueness and diversity of each and every country.
I love it. So I'm super excited. So actually this year we finally decided it's been one of my bucket list destinations is to visit Tanzania. So I'm super excited that I'm actually making that happen. So I'm going to be visiting actually next month in the month of July. And it's been a destination. Yes, I'm so excited.
It's so awesome. I'm so happy for her.
Well, I was joking around with my family. I'm like, guys, it's like my bucket list, my dream destination. I'm like, if I don't make it there alive, maybe take me there and spread my ashes. So I'm happy to make it physically while I'm still here on this planet. So that's something that I'm super excited for. And like you said, there's so much diversity, even within the continent itself, from country to country. But what are some practical tips that you would give someone who's traveling to Africa for the first time?
Okay, you're going to Tanzania, so let me give you some tips first.
Yes, give me
Yes.
all the
For
tips.
So for Tanzania specifically, there's a bit of a language barrier because it's more of a Swahili speaking nation, but you will definitely find people who speak English. The tourism industry speak enough English, but on the outskirts, it will be tricky, in case you go into the community. Then it's more of a Maasai community. So they have the tribe called the Maasai tribe. They're going to see a lot of people wearing the Maasai shukas. So you're going to experience a bit of that. Tanzania is more, if you're going to go to Ngorongoro, Serengeti, the tourism there is a bit, you're going to go in July. So it's going to be peak
Yeah.
season. So you're going to see so many travel, so many tourists. So it's a bit of
Yeah.
a travel dense area compared to countries like Uganda, where you still be with other clients, but it won't be that crowded. But for Tanzania, because of the beauty and the offerings they have, it gets a bit crowded. Then the food variety, they have a variety of food. You shouldn't worry about the food. You know, whether you're vegetarian or not, they definitely cater for all palates. Yes. And enjoy and get ready to enjoy. They keep saying Akuna Matata. They have some nice local beers, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Akuna Matata
Yes.
means
My
no worries.
husband will love the local beers. I'm all about the food, so I'm excited for that, just to try different culture and the people. I mean, I know a couple of people that are from there, and they're just so lovely. So I'm super excited to get to experience that. And of course, going to the safari, that's been a dream of mine for a very, very long time. So I'm very, very happy to finally make that. But I love how you talk about the wellness component, because even though we're doing this trip and we're going to be there for about 2 weeks, a lot of the things are in itineraries a little bit more and more go, go, go. I would have loved to be able to kind of do more of like a wellness type of retreat. So, which country would you say kind of gears more towards that wellness factor?
I believe other countries in Africa can incorporate the wellness aspect. It's just about the development of the itinerary. Like you've said, your itinerary, like you're going to see in the next month, is go, 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 go. And that's what I also experienced when I was handling clients, because I used to handle big groups as a team leader in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana. You know, you wake up at 6, you're off to the safari, you're back at night. There was never a chance for people to actually relax. And that's why I incorporated the wellness aspect in my trips. And even in Tanzania, you can have the wellness incorporation. It's just about how the itineraries are developed, that most of them are on the go. Someone, by the time the safari is done, they are really exhausted and burnt out instead of
Yeah. Especially
relaxed
with
and
the weather
rejuvenated.
too.
Yes, but the weather is not bad. The weather is not extreme.
Okay.
Even in Tanzania, it's going to be a bit warm, but it's not too much. It's not crazy. Even in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, because it's their dry season, unless you go there in September and it's extra hot, but it's just warm enough. It's not an extreme weather.
Okay. That makes me feel better, because I'm like, oof, even though a lot of the activities are geared towards the morning, like you said, going out to the safari is typically more in the morning time. And we're doing a couple of night activities, which I'm really excited for overall. But that's also one of the things, at least for me, July was like really the only month out of the year that we can go for a long period of time. Coming from New Jersey, it's a pretty long flight. So to go there, try to maximize it as best as possible. So it's hard because I know
Yes.
it's going to be a little bit more crowded. It's going to be a more popular season. So, what time of the year would you suggest that's still ideal for someone who wants to experience the safari, but they still want to maybe do like the beaches? Is there a particular time of the year that you suggest where it's not as crowded?
Every country has different seasons. Now, if you're doing the Victoria Falls region of Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, going at the end of the season, so we're looking at September, end of August, September, there is not so crowded. Same applies to Kenya, to Tanzania. But then with Kenya and Tanzania, even doing February and end of March, but then sometimes the rains have started, so the weather is not very good for the beach experience, February and March. But then for countries like Uganda, any time of the year is conducive, because the country generally doesn't get, even during peak season, the number of tourists inflow is not as intense as it is in other neighboring countries. So with Uganda, you'd experience a bit of more of a less crowded, customized experience than other countries, because the tourist numbers are not that extreme throughout the year. And the weather is also good enough, because it's crossed by the equator. Throughout the year, the weather is basically, hot and wet, nothing extreme.
That's really cool. I'm taking notes in my head of all the places that I want to go because, like Rosa, I really want to go to Africa someday. All the pictures I've seen look absolutely beautiful. And for me, it would be my first time visiting. So, out of curiosity, is there a particular country or destination in Africa that you recommend to first time visitors?
The recommendation would come based on your interests. Because of that variety and diversity of each country, your interests would be one of the aspects that would push me to identify a particular country. If you're more into food and slow paced, you love the green, you love the nature, then I would recommend Uganda because it's the food basket of Africa. You can find
Oh,
fresh
amazing.
foods, fruits and vegetables and grains throughout the year. This is something I didn't see in any other African country because most of the other African countries have a bit of seasons. And mainly if you go down south, the variety of food really reduces. But even in Kenya and Tanzania, which is just neighboring to Uganda, they don't have that diversity of foods and cuisines and richness and culture. And culture, I mention it in terms of food because it affects the cuisines. Every tribe has a different cuisine and a different preparation style. So the fact that Uganda is a melting point for different cultures, it also affects the different cuisines you can find on the menus. So if someone is into culinary and safari and lifestyle and community, then Uganda would be amazing because it has a variety of all that in a very small area.
That sounds incredible. I'm ready to book a ticket. I'm ready to go right now.
Like
That sounds
sold.
wonderful. The greenery and the food. Like, I'm a big foodie. I absolutely adore food. And for your itineraries, what are some of the most popular wellness activities to do? Because, like we said, I love the idea of combining this trip with some wellness to rejuvenate and feel good about yourself.
Yes, so I have mainly three core trips that I market. There's the Sun-Kissed and Soul Nourished, where we push more of the Zanzibar experience. So clients go to Zanzibar, which is in Tanzania, for the snorkeling, the visiting of the Slave Island, but then we incorporate that with the wellness. So they are basically like a very good inclusive resort where they're doing a bit of yoga. Then the other day, maybe they'd go for the excursion where they go to the Safari Blue water pods where they do the snorkeling, just the seafood. So we mix and match the wellness aspect along with that. And sometimes it depends. The wellness could be yoga, it could be journaling, it could be meditation, it could be even nature walks. So then in Uganda, the most core wellness products are where we merge culture infusion with wellness, where a client comes and they have like 2-3 days where they're in different culture villages, maybe milking cattle, seeing how ghee is made, going with the herdsmen to take the cows to grazing. They do a bit of honey collection from the beehives. So they take part in such activities that are very rejuvenating, but then are also very authentic to the communities. Then they do a bit of food preparation and testings, and then they drive off to this amazing resort with a beautiful view, and then they do the wellness aspect. So it's not in one place, as I've seen other wellness retreats where it's just one resort. Here it's a mix of this and that. And then when it's an aspect of safari and wellness, we have the clients going through the national park, they take part in the safari activity, and then maybe they have 2-3 days still at a beautiful resort, which is quiet and tranquil and in the middle of nature, and they just have their wellness aspect. Whether it's meditation, yoga, journaling, whichever it is, they have it incorporated there while they're there. Sometimes they even get instructors. If it's yoga, we sometimes have our yoga instructors here in Uganda. Sometimes when there are big groups, they come with their own instructors. For example, who do sound meditation, they come with someone for sound. So we incorporate the itinerary in that kind of regard. And the last itinerary I have sold for wellness and adventure is one for Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, which covers the Victoria Falls region because the country is kind of neat in that small area. So you have the clients maybe on day one doing maybe the bungee jumping, the devil's pool, and then day two is basically a day of meditation and just having all these activities that are wellness based at the lodge. So the trips are basically very close to the picture of other safaris, but they are more laid back and with days of wellness activities in there mixed and matched.
That sounds
That sounds amazing.
incredible. All of them sound wonderful.
I know. I'm like, sign me up for the wellness. Just like imagining waking up and having like the mountains on your backdrop and just the greenery. I mean, both myself and Rachel were from New Jersey. I'm not sure if you've been to the area, but it doesn't look anything like that. You look
It's
out the
very
window.
crowded.
Yeah.
I have cars going by, they're real noisy. I could use nice nature right now.
It sounds peaceful. So it's a complete contrast for our day to day. So it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and it's one of the things which triggered me to create and sell wellness aspects, because every place I traveled in Africa, I realized we have this nature, this green, this amazing weather, this fresh air that sometimes we take for granted, because I mean, it's there, it's everywhere, it's part of us. So we forget that this is something which can be highly appreciated once clients are given a chance to slow down from the busy back-to-back safari and just given time to take it all in.
Yeah, I love that, especially the thought of slowing down and taking it all in, because I feel like our day-to-day lives are so busy with work, commuting to work, family obligations, friend obligations, that on our travels, sometimes even though itineraries can be very go, 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 it's good to have that component of rejuvenation. And like you said, just the thought of the fresh air and the beautiful nature, I have these images in my mind and I'm just ready to book a flight as we're talking about it.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah,
sounds wonderful. So I know for myself, I'm gonna be going there, and I've been to Egypt. We went there, so this will be the second country that we actually visit within Africa. So I'm very, very excited for that. So I know for myself, I'm gonna be going with my family, but like let's say for instance, Rachel does a lot of female solo travel. So what would be from a safety perspective, any countries that you feel that within Africa that kind of gears and provides a little bit more of comfort when it comes to solo travel as a woman?
yes, thank you, Rose. That's a great question. For solo travel throughout Africa, there are tips and suggestions I would give to anyone who wants to do solo travel, mainly in terms of safety and security, because all the countries I've been in Africa, we don't have an already well established, structured form of infrastructure. So sometimes wellness travel becomes tricky because unlike other parts of Europe, when you get to the airport, there's a train or there's a bus already that can take you to any other part of the country. We don't have much of that. The infrastructure is not extremely well developed to that dot yet. So most times, to ensure a safe trip and a smooth trip, I always encourage travelers who are interested in doing solo trips to at least have someone in that country they have talked to, maybe done a bit of a consultation, or someone who they're going to meet when they come into the country, at least the first 1-2 days, so they get a hang of things, so they know they have a familiar face they're meeting for the first time. It really makes that experience worthwhile. It increases the security, the sense of security, and that way, once they spend maybe 1-2 days with this person, they can always go off into the exploring aspect, when they know they have someone who they can reach out to in case of anything. That's very important, because this person can be their go-to for all the information they need or the contacts they need down on ground, which sometimes the information might not be easily accessible online like it could be in other countries. So I really encourage people who want solo travelers to first do that, then to also carry out research about that particular country and destination. Like you see, Tanzania is a very conservative nation, but it's very open-minded to tourists. So tourists will basically move around dressed in a certain way, and they'll be okay with it because they're like, okay, this is someone, maybe a white person. Let me just be as blunt as possible. When a white person dresses a certain way in Tanzania, it will be okay. But if me, a person of color, dresses that same way, it will not be taken nicely. So some small things help, mainly the culture shock. So with proper information, once the clients have done research, it also helps them. Most of the countries down of the Sahara, south of the Sahara, are not so strict in terms of dress code, so there might not be need of covering up a lot. But doing a bit of research also helps you understand the culture, the mindset, the food palettes in that country, because some tourists I've seen get frustrated, mainly those who are vegetarian, because most of the palettes in the African continent, they're a bit vegetarian, yes, but then others do a lot of meat and mix and match here and there. So sometimes it's important for a client to come when they're prepared of what they're going to find on ground.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I especially like what you said about having someone on the ground to meet you, because I know for me, just having that additional comfort of a tour guide or going on a guided tour and having
Yeah.
transportation available would just be so comforting and really useful, and just a source of knowledge as well. Like, I love learning about the places I'm visiting. So I'm always about the guided tours. I've taken guided tours everywhere and I just love them.
Yeah, I'm usually the opposite. I normally like to do the research and kind of navigate a new destination on my own. But I know when we went to Egypt specifically, while I was doing research, obviously the language for us, we don't know how to speak it. The culture's a little bit different, and getting around wasn't as easy as I would have wanted it to be. So, like, I knew for us, doing a guided tour was going to be more ideal. And it was the best decision that we made because, like you said, we were greeted at the airport by our guide, and they were pretty much with us throughout the entire 10 days that we were in Egypt in different parts. So it was great having a local, someone that spoke the language. And not just that, but they also took us to the sites that we wanted to see, but they also took us to certain places that I had no idea existed. So you kind of also find those hidden gems, which I really like with every destination. So I think hiring a tour guide and, like you said, doing the research so the safety precautions, even from a dietary restrictions and things like that. So definitely doing the research goes a long way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And the fact that Egypt is even more developed than other parts of the south, I think yeah, they're saying?
Yeah, the traffic, I was gonna say the traffic in Egypt was like no other though. And we went during Ramadan also, so that kind
Oh,
of was a little bit.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of crowds in the nighttime. So
Busy.
yeah, it was very, very busy. So during the
Mhm.
day, you didn't really see too many people. And then the sun
mm,
goes down,
night.
the streets were like flooded, which was nice because it just kind of came alive. But it was definitely a lot, and it was definitely an experience. So I was glad that we were able to hire the tour company, and they planned everything. Normally, I'm the one
Mm,
dealing with all the planning. So having someone just plan the itinerary and just tell me where to go, what time to be ready, like sometimes I just need that. Like one less thing
yes.
to worry about. But we also know that you put a lot of focus on making Africa feel safe and welcoming for women. So what initially inspired that mission?
The thing which really is, there were two. One, the fact that not so much is known about Africa. Even when you look at solo travelers, women, not many are coming into Africa. So just that, the fact that very many women are traveling around the world right now, but few are coming into Africa, it showed me that there was a vacuum, you know. And when I did a bit of research, one of the things which stood out was the fear of security. Even I, as a woman, and all women around the world, one of the things they really look out for when they're traveling anywhere is their personal security and safety. I mean, yeah, you have a beautiful country, you have nice waterfalls and green, but am I safe? So that's something which really echoes loudly. And that's why all my trips, mainly for women, we handle them through with female guides. So we have female guides in all these countries who do like the guiding. This reinforces a sense of security to all the women we work with because sometimes they even don't feel safe getting a guide who is a male who's going to be them on a safari, in a car, in a strange country. Yeah, they talked to you, the woman, but now they're on the road with a man. Okay, who is taking them to this safari very far away from that city and the other people. So it still created a bit of security issue. That was one. Then secondly, I realized there was a lot of information gap in terms of what to do, where to go, what to expect in terms of travel in Africa. And that really reduced the number of people traveling, mainly women within Africa. And that's why I decided to do as many podcasts of different women as I can to reinforce the sense of security and then also share information of like tips, ideas, what to do, what to expect. Because most times when someone doesn't know what's there, what to expect, it becomes very blur for someone to even make a decision to travel to that destination. So I realized for women, once they're given the right information, the right person to work with, definitely they would love to travel to Africa like they have in other parts of the world.
I love what you said about hiring female guides. That just spoke to me so much because it's so true. it feels like I have a new best friend in a different country. And I feel like I just connect better with female guides. It's like having a big sister showing me a new country. So I absolutely love that. I think it's fantastic and a good way to get solo female travelers to come and visit.
Yes, it's beautiful too on my side as well as a woman in the industry,
Mhm.
because as I realize female guides are also not given so many opportunities, and as a business person in the tourism industry, a woman myself, I also find it very paramount for myself to give my fellow women more opportunities in the industry, because tourism, like so many other sectors, is still male driven, and women are not given so many opportunities, even though they do an amazing job. Amazing. Like sometimes I'm on trips with these women and I'm like, wow, you're great. They're doing all these great things. They can change tires, they can change when a car gets an issue, they can open it up and check what's happening. And you're like, wow. So it's
It's
beautiful to watch.
amazing. And I love to hear that you give that empowerment too, because like you said, even in the travel industry, we see that in the day to day that we're so underrepresented in that market as women. So having like the platform and having that opportunity and being able to actually use that to connect other women and expand, I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like ready to sign
basically
up. I was like, I need to plan a part 2. I haven't even gone on my first trip.
I'm sure you'll love it. I'm sure you'll love it. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very excited. So, what would be some of like your packing tips for someone traveling to Africa? Like, what are some must-have items we have to take with us?
Oh yes. So sunscreen, yeah. Bug spray because we have a bit of insects here and there. Uh Following the weather of that particular country. Like I said, every country has a different weather. It could be the same time of year. I remember whenever I'm usually in the south in Zimbabwe, Zambia, most times around June, July, August, September, it's very dry that side. So sometimes I'm there for 3 weeks and it's really hot. And then I'm landing in Kampala, Uganda, and it's raining. And I'm like, you know. So identifying the weather in that particular country helps, and also the activities you're going to do. So if you're going to do safari, of course, having colors which are not so bright is very important. Having the nature-based colors like the cream, the brown, that army green kind of clothes is very important, mainly for safari. There are those colors we call the safari colors. This kind of color is also really good for safari. So having clothes of that nature. Long sleeved is very nice if you are going to go safari or even nature walks. So use on the bags and all these bushes and everything. If you're going to do a bit of a hiking, like if you're coming to Uganda and you're going to do gorilla trekking, would encourage you to have a raincoat and safari boots because you're going to be in a forest setting. Yeah.
The gorilla trekking, that sounds awesome.
I've always wanted to go gorilla
I know.
trekking.
I've
That's a
seen
huge
videos
thing.
online. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, that would be an amazing trip. Although I must say, I would be kind of scared though. So
No,
being so
gorilla
close
trekking is
proximity.
actually a very safe activity because you literally have you're divided into 2 groups of 8. So you're just 8 tourists with 2 rangers, sometimes 2 or 3 rangers, and they're all armed, so they all have weapons. So they guide you into the forest. They know where the gorillas were left maybe a day before. So you follow a few trails. You get to see the gorillas, but then you're briefed. You're given ample information on what to expect. The gorillas have been habituated, so there is hardly any physical attack because now they are a bit used to humans. You're guided by the rangers on how to behave so that you don't have flashlights on, you don't make so much noise to scare them off. So it's a beautiful experience. I've done it twice, and every time it's life changing. It's interesting to see these wildlife interact in their natural habitat with the family and their babies and the silverback, which is the dominant male, doing its thing, and the wives and the children. It's a beautiful setting to see. Yeah, but it's quite safe.
It sounds magical. Yeah, it sounds like an awesome experience. I'm like, oh, I got to rethink this.
I know. I want to see the gorillas so badly. That's so high on my bucket list because they're just so cute. I love their little faces. Oh my gosh. I
Baby,
love gorillas. And I want to see the babies.
yeah, yeah, the baby gorillas, they're cute. They're cute.
So, going back to the tour guides that you have, you were saying that you'll go in these experiences with them. and some of them are really amazing. Is there any one particular experience that comes to mind where you had a really awesome tour guide or a really phenomenal experience that you would like to share with our listeners? Because I'm just absolutely loving all of your stories.
Thank you. Allow me share two different experiences.
Yes.
One, we had a group. We had a group of 30 ladies. That it was an influencer group. So we had 4 safari cars, spreading them out in each car. So we had 4 different female guides. And then one of the activities the clients were doing was gorilla trekking. And gorilla trekking is up in the mountain, windy, so you climb up and the road is still a bit roundy. So I remember this one guide, she's called Rachel. One time,
Oh, my name.
Cute.
oh my God,
Was that you, Rachel?
she's one of my best guides. She's one of my best guides. So we were doing the trip, and then the car gets a mechanical challenge while we were winding up, going up into the mountains, you know. And the expertise she exhibited really just caught me by surprise because I had been with different guides, but challenges here in the road don't always occur, so you don't really expect it to happen. But this one time it occurred, and she was there. You know, she just jumped out. She told the client, "Don't worry, relax. I got this." She jumped out. She opened the bumper, and she was checking all these things. And even as a team lead, I didn't know what was like. I mean, I didn't know what was affecting the car. And she just checked it. She was like, "Okay, so Lynette, we need X, Y, Z." So I called the engineers in the area. They brought whatever she needed, and within 20 minutes, the car was up and running. So I was like, wow, you know, and then it just reinforced this aspect in me that these ladies are actually really good at their job, because some people don't even want to give them business, the guides, because they're like, the woman, if the car gets an issue, will she do anything? Like, will she be able to sort it out, you know? Because they're like, she's a woman, you know, if a tire needs changing, can she do anything? They actually are good. You know, this really reinforced the confidence I have in these ladies that, wow, they're really good at their job. That was one experience. Then the second one, we were in Botswana. The clients were doing a safari in Chobe National Park in Botswana. And this guide was very interesting in how she was delivering the whole safari experience. So when they were doing the game drive, she saw lion poop. You know, she went and grabbed it and she was like, oh my God, this poop is warm. So there's a lion here very close by. You know, this is like poo. You know, I just remember the clients
Very
being
hands-on.
very. I remember the clients finding her very, very hilarious. And then when they kept driving in that same area, they actually found the lions. You know, but she was very engaging, very exciting, and she really performed very well on her job. So I found that also a very beautiful experience. It touched my heart and how she delivered her trip. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Sounds like you have like a wonderful team of some just badass women out there. So I
Yeah.
love it. I love these stories. I was like, I want to hear more. That's like a whole entire
Yeah,
podcast
and
episode on its own, highlighting all these amazing women.
yeah, and the interesting part is all these women that I work with have families, like they have children, and most of them have literally young children. I've gone on trips with women who are like, I have a 6 month old, I have a 1 year old, and you're like, wow. So it shows you the dedication they put to work, because it's not easy for someone to leave their family and go on a trip. Yeah, so basically that also reinforces their passion for a job, because I know it's not easy leaving a family, a 1 year old, a 6 months old for 10-day, 15-day safari in the wild. It's not easy, and even our communities don't really celebrate it. So they also have a lot of society pressures, because even the society we live in wouldn't understand the narrative of someone leaving their child at home to go and do a safari. You know, so it's still a grappling challenge they face. Yeah.
It's so like amazing. Like I can't even balance having my foster cat sometimes. So I can't imagine having a young child at home and doing tours. It's just like the coolest thing.
Yeah. It's
So
beautiful.
now, Lynette, what does your process look like when you're customizing an itinerary? Do you tend to do just specific custom trips for people? Or do you host also like group trips where anybody can join and you have that available to like the general public?
Yes, we do customized trips. Most of the trips we've been doing have been group trips. So when someone is interested, it could be 3 people, it could be 5 people, it could be 2 people, it could be a couple. We have the itineraries which are already developed. So we usually share with them different itineraries and we treat them and turn them around depending on the client's interests. And sometimes when there are groups, when you have like maybe a tour operator based in a different country or an influencer and they have their people who they are coming with or their family, we do the group as well. We have not yet started doing trips that we sell out. At the moment, we don't have any running. Yeah, where we sell out and different people book. We don't have that, but we do have different trips where people can identify that I want to do this trip. It will either be yourself and your family, your group of people. Yes, we have not yet started doing trips that people buy and join as a lump sum. Yeah. We have already developed itineraries. So whenever we get inquiries of people who want to travel, we share with them different itineraries that, okay, if you want to do Uganda, there's this itinerary. If you want to do Tanzania, there's this itinerary. If you want to do Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, there's this itinerary. So we share with them already crafted itineraries. And through those itineraries, clients can be able to change things and depending on their interest. They can say, okay, can we remove this? Can we add this? Can we remove this? Can we add this? And that's how the customizing comes in to fit their interests. Yeah. And then that's how they buy that. That's how we sell the trips. We have not yet started selling a trip that different people from different walks of lives come and book. But if there's a group that is already established, we usually sell to them the packages and we can handle the group or the individuals, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, depending on the number, we can handle all those. But yeah, and most times the wellness groups usually just go to 8 to 15 to ensure the intimacy of the wellness experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, like for the wellness tours, that they're a small group because I always find traveling in a small group that's about 8 people, I make friends with everybody in the group, and it's just like a really nice way to get to know people when you travel. And I feel like that's even more important for a wellness trip.
And it's more manageable too. I mean, that's the one thing I specifically am always wary of doing like large group trips just because waiting on people, the different interests, things that can happen throughout the trip. So having something that's a little bit more intimate for myself, I feel like it gives me a little bit more peace of mind at least that I know it's not going to be as chaotic. And I can imagine too, as a tour leader, managing like 20, 30 people, it can get intense. Do you have like any stories of anything that has happened in one of your trips that you're just like, oh no?
I love these stories. I love these stories. They're the best.
Because I manage residential properties and deal with people all the time. And Rachel is a teacher. So like we deal with some stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I
we're
teach
just like
teenagers.
You must have high tolerance levels.
So if you have any stories, we would love to hear those.
Stories. I have things I noticed. I have a lot of things I noticed with big groups. There's a bit of people's personal interests are not highly taken into consideration because you're in a big group, and so the group says we're leaving at 6 to do X, Y, Z, and some groups are very strict that we're leaving no one behind. So you might find someone who doesn't want to do that X, Y, Z, and now they're forced to wake up at 6, so they're grumpy. They're like, I really don't want to do this. But now the group lead is like, no, everyone, let's go. So I noticed some groups don't cater to people's individual interests. That's something I really noticed, you know. And then secondly, I also noticed that sometimes when you have a big group, it's hard to give an intimate experience. Like now it's really tricky to give a nice wellness package when it's a very big group, because you will not be able to make friends with everyone, you'll not be able to interact with everyone. Yet one of the aspects of wellness is to be able to create those meaningful relationships that help in the whole rejuvenation process of the trip. So that's something that I noticed with big groups that you don't get much of. And then big groups also have a bit of drama, you know, fights here and there for different reasons. With smaller groups, we are more or less on the same page as a team, which also, reduces on the strain on everyone. Team lead, but then even the people who are on the safari. There's alignment, there's less back and forth or dissatisfaction of the team members.
If someone is feeling burnt out and wants to combine adventure with restoration, what's your top destination pick in Africa for them?
I would identify two areas. One would be the Victoria Falls region. That is where they're doing Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, because that area has a lot of adventure activities. It has the zip lining, it has the bungee jumping, it has the Devil's Pool, the Angel's Pool. It has the walking with the lions experience. It has the big safari experiences because Botswana has the biggest elephant population in Africa. So you're bound to see so many herds of elephants. It has the sunset cruise, which are usually very beautiful in the evening. And it also has the train, the luxury train, still in one area code. So that would be so beautiful to combine with wellness. And they have really nice resorts, which are just at the banks of the river Zambezi. So that would be a beautiful destination. Then I feel also Uganda, because of the variety it has in terms of culture and cuisines, it can be a beautiful wellness spot, because someone can have a lot of combined culture, a bit of safari, and then also a lot of wellness because of the green, the nature, the sceneries in Uganda are amazing. And I'm sure they can provide a really good experience for people who value such aspects.
That sounds pretty awesome. I'm ready to make this a destination for 2026 because I tapped out of my
I
PDs.
know. I'm ready for 2026. That sounds like so amazing. We really appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you so much. Where can our listeners find you on social media?
Thank you. I have an Instagram page. She's Lynette Lax Travel. I have a website called Girls Travel Africa where they can interact with our content. But I think the easiest and most fluid form of communication could be through my WhatsApp contacts, and email.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on the show today and taking your time to be here. And we hope today's episode, listeners, sparked your curiosity or shifted the way you think about traveling in Africa. So whether it's through wellness, cultural connection, or just taking that first brave step, we hope you feel inspired to explore this beautiful, diverse continent for yourself. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend who's been dreaming of visiting Africa, who just needs a little nudge to start planning that life-changing trip. So thank you, besties, as always, for listening. And we love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys. Thank you
Bye,
so much,
guys.
Lynette, for
Thank
being on the
you.
show.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me.